Hello everybody, it's Shaderock, and welcome to what will be the final video in the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess manga series. As today we will be covering both volumes 10 and 11. The reason why I am putting these both into one video instead of two separate videos like I normally do is because of the fact volume 11 is pretty much just the fight with Ganondorf, and a lot of it is combat artwork. So we're not going to be doing... It's going to be actually a very quick discussion there as compared to Volume 10, which is Hyrule Castle. Now, we all know how this story goes and how it ends, but there's some more details, some new stuff introduced here in the manga. So without further ado, let's get started. So, we start Volume 10 off inside Hyrule Castle. The King Ganondorf sitting on his throne, waiting for everyone to come at him. We then get images of Link and his friends, recently freed from the realm of Twilight, running to Hyrule Castle. Ganondorf, and they see overhead dark clouds gathering, signaling the start of the battle. All of Ganondorf's forces have gathered at one point, and that is Hyrule Castle. We get to see Luda and the kids in Kakariko Village, with Luda freaking out at the cloud and the growing horde of monsters. I do not have a way to show it, as it is you get a full double-page spread of all the monsters appearing. But it's not just the people of Kakariko we see preparing for this. The Zora are also preparing, as they have monsters attack them. All these forces are not just attacking Hyrule Castle, they are attacking all of Link's allies across the realm. So they're hitting they're hitting Zora's domain, Hyrule Castle Town. And in Castle Town we can actually see the citizens in Telma's bar, including Telma, Shad, and Ilya, all gathered in her bar, cowering as they're waiting for the silence, and all they can hear is the silence as the battle prepares. And outside, Russell and Aisha are all ready to go forward and take back Hyrule Castle. And the fight does not go well. We get some really good art of Russell and Aisha tearing through monsters, but the knights are not faring better. One of them, when he tries to run, he is grabbed and told, if you run, then we're done for. Fight to survive. And morale is just completely broken among the knights. They have no hope. Aru grabs Russell, pulls him aside, and just tells him, your wife just had a baby. Go to her and survive. Basically tell him, like, just get out. There's no reason for you to fight and die here. And he points out the fact that if he does, Hyrule falls. So if he leaves, they're fucked anyway. But they don't have to worry for long, as Midna manages to teleport Link and his friends here, all to help. So, alright, big differences from the game. In the game, Link arrives, Midna breaks the barrier, and we go into Hyrule Castle. But here, we have everyone gathering. We have this massive battle of the forces of light and the forces of Ganondorf all clashing. And for the first time, though, Midna's in the realm of light in front of people in her solid form, not as Link's shadow. So he actually has to introduce her as the ruler of the realm of Twilight. And, well, that introduction kind of causes a couple heads to turn. But we don't have any time to dwell on that, as Midna declares that she'll breach that barrier while they have to hold on and take out the majority of Ganondorf's forces. Russell actually takes a quick moment to say that he's proud to fight by the side of Link's friends from his home country. And Midna, on the other hand, is preparing with the fused shadows. And we actually get to see, like, artwork of Midna inside the fused shadow armor. And it does not look pleasant. It does the whole sequence like it does in the game, where she slams against the walls and is dragged behind one of them before coming up as the giant Twilight monster. I don't know what to call this thing still. So, yeah, this happens just like in the game, except there's a massive difference. She, while in this form, declares that she is the leader of the Twilight. Shadow beasts left behind in the world of light are ordered to come to her, and they start attacking Ganondorf's monsters, showing that the leftover shadow messengers or just shadow beasts in general that still exist in the realm of light, because we know they could exist in the realm of light because they're the ones who took out the spirits, or the lake spirits. We saw that in Twilight Princess when Orden was explaining that Farron and the other lake spirits were taken out. So yeah, she brings in reinforcements, which Aru points out is just monsters attacking monsters. Because remember, to him, he doesn't trust the realm of Twilight, as I've mentioned. But she breaks the barrier, shoving the spear in, just like it was in the game. And the entrance to Hyrule Castle is finally opened. With the barrier destroyed, Link and the others finally head into the castle, ready to face Ganondorf. But before they can, after clearing out a couple more of the smaller monsters, Link is grabbed and pulled into the air by Midna, still in the form granted to her by the fused shadows. And she almost kills Link. The only words she is able to say is Demon King. Must kill Demon King. As she almost stabs Link. It's not really explained what's going on here, but my guess is one or two things is going on. Either A, she's completely lost control of the fused shadows because it's a lot more power than she thought, or B, it's the fact that it's following her will to kill the Demon King, but the only direction it has is the power of the Triforce, which would indicate both Link and Zelda. Like I said, that's just my theory. It's not really explained, but she falls to the ground very weak, actually barely hanging on. And her only response is, "I've done the unforgivable. I betrayed you." And Link just tells her to calm down, that she just had a little trouble controlling the power. But then thanks her because the barrier covering the castle is gone. They can head in. And she's ready to... Yeah, she just keeps going on that she's not strong, not good enough. And Link tells her to rest, that she does not have to fight anymore. That everything else can be handled by him. But before they could say anything, Aru shows up with the guards, telling him to get away from that thing. The guards are terrified, as they just saw Midna in that giant shadow form. So they're understandably a little terrified of her, especially because of what they just saw her doing. But Link tells them to back off, that she helped them. And Aru is still stubborn in his belief, just like he told Zelda all those years ago. They do not need to interact with the world of Shadow. That is dangerous. Meanwhile, Link points out, they would never have made it through that barrier without her. And the guards are confused, asking if Link's lost his mind, that the hero of Hyrule is turning his sword on them. And his only response is, Midna is important to him, that he won't let anyone harm her, no matter who they are. Which, God, I love the artwork. And it kind of solidifies here, I think, without a shadow, but without one, you kind of say she's still a very important friend to his, and it solidifies here the Twilight Link as a full-on hero. He's not willing to betray Midna, even though all of the people the guards of Knights of Hyrule, the Knights of the land he is supposed to save and protect, are turning on her. Another reason why I love the hero of Twilight. But the Ryoma and the rest of his friends from the border town come up they basically push in and point out the fact that they've been stuck in the realm of Twilight for a good while, and the only reason they survived was because of the people of Twilight. And Ashi, I'm trying to figure out actually how to pronounce her name. Every time I have said her name, I have said it wrong. Give me a second. Let me see if I can actually... I think it is Ashi. I think that is how you, say her name. I am very bad at saying her name in particular, just because of the fact... I don't know why it keeps clicking, like, a bunch of different other names in my head. I apologize for that. But... fuck, she calls them all out, though. To hide your own weakness and shame, you're just looking for an evil you can safely oppose. Snap out of it. And this gives everyone a moment of pause. That they all just stop and think for a moment. But before anyone can really say anything else, a Skullfos jumps out of the river to attack both Link and Midna. Link is still off as he's still not fighting 100% because he's still protecting Midna. He does not have his shield. He is only fighting with one hand, and there are multiple Skullfos jumping out the lake. And one of them is behind him. But before he can react, one of the guards actually stabs the one Skullfos right in the neck. Solidifying the fact that they are siding with Link. That they are going to fight Ganondorf. And Link gives a smile. He turns to his friends and he just simply asks, "Can I entrust Midna to you?" She has no ability to stop Link here because she is still exhausted from using the power of the Fused Shadows. She tells Link to stop, not to be left behind. His only response is to give her a kiss on the cheek and then run into the castle. Yeah, before we move on, we're gonna linger on this bit. So, is it any secret that at this point that this story is got a lot with Midna and Link? I think I explained it pretty well in one of the other volume reviews. But yeah, Midna's pretty much reached... well, Link and Midna have got feelings for each other in this one. And we'll keep seeing more of that as we go on. As Link enters Hyrule Castle, wouldn't be the final dungeon without talking about the Dark Nuts. He fights two of them. Both of them are in the Royal Knight design that we saw towards the end of Twilight Princess. And Link dispatches them, actually using some of the sword techniques he's learned from Hero of Time. And like I said, I'm skipping over a lot of the combat art. And honestly, I love the flow of combat in this manga. It does flow very well, seeing Link jump and roll as well as deflect various attacks. It's really well done. But Link can't really rest on his laurels for too long as a familiar shadow drops down from above. As it is King Bublin telling him, "So we meet again." We don't really get to see much on that though, as it immediately cuts back to outside of Hyrule Castle, where the gate is being held by the knights and Link's friends, Russell, Ashi, and Aru is still having kind of like a full-blown crisis, like, what the fuck do I even believe in anymore? And as they're fighting, we actually have a couple close calls to death. We have a couple people questioning why they're there. Zoo is the one with Midna, sorry. I think this one is Ryoma. I have to apologize. I know I'm really bad at Aisha's name, just Ashi. Fuck, I keep fucking up their names! I mess up a lot of the characters' names. This is because some of them don't appear too much in the game. Shad, I just remembered just because of the fact I was reading directly from the book a lot, and they say his name a lot. Russell, as I mentioned, I always remember the beginning of Twilight Princess. It's Ashi, I think her name is pronounced. This is Ryoma. And pointing out the fact that sometimes the whole battle can rest on a single moment. And it doesn't matter DARPA saves their life, but it doesn't matter. The whole crew is pushed back to the door. And things aren't looking much better as the king has arrived. Which could mean that he's defeated Link, except he raises his weapon, the massive great axe that it is, and cleaves his way through the horde of moblins. One of them screaming, "You have betrayed us. Why?" And his only response is to the humans, "Don't be afraid. I'm helping you on Master's orders." He smashes another moblin who calls him a traitor, saying, "Who do you think you're talking to? I serve the hero Link." And everyone's just looking like, what the fuck? And we cut back to what it was with Link, where he destroys the other Dark Nut. And he explains that the only reason he is listening to Link is, you beat me and I follow the strong. End of story. So Link is his new boss because he's the strongest. He tells him, give me an order, that he would die. And Link just looks at him and gives him a grin and just says, "I order you to help my friends fighting at the castle gate." And he heads off. Meanwhile, Link charges back into the castle. Link runs through the castle. He makes it all the way to the throne room without without much stopping him. There's a couple stall foes that he just tears right through because Sword of Evil's Bane really lives up to its name in the manga. And he walks up to the throne. See the usurper sitting on it, and Zelda held aloft, just like in the game. This is the first time he has come face to face with Ganondorf, who brings up the fact that this is also the first time in forever that in 200 years that the three pieces of the Triforce are in one room, declaring himself that he is Ganondorf, the one who controls power and is the only one fit to rule the world. And he goes over a whole thing, how that the Triforce belongs to him, that he's the most powerful. And Link points out the fact that if the Triforce is the power of the gods, we should give it back to them. And that it's the only road to salvation for Ganondorf. And Ganondorf actually laughs, because this is the first time someone has ever said this to him. And he reveals that when he came into contact with the Triforce the first time, it grants the first wish of whoever touches it. Your wish is now our wish too. So, the wish becomes the will of the gods. That is the Triforce. In his own twisted logic, this means that it is the gods' will for him to rule Hyrule. And Link just tells him, even if the gods wish it, I won't permit it. Drawing his blade, ready to challenge Ganondorf, but Ganondorf does something very similar to what he does in the game, as possesses Princess Zelda. That brings us to the first part of the Puppet Zelda fight, where Ganondorf in Zelda's body starts taunting Link that Princess Zelda has joined the Demon King. We talked it over, and I propose ruling the world together, and she gladly agreed. The Puppet Zelda fight is on, though, as she takes a swipe at Link, who dodges a lot of her attacks just because he does not want to hurt Princess Zelda, understandably. And during his dodging, he does parry one of the energy balls, reflecting it back at her, and noticing that it actually deals some damage, which is the same method that he fights her with in the game. But Link actually kind of feels bad about it, because of the fact that he just saw her in pain. And Ganondorf uses this opening to basically start shocking the ever-loving shit out of Link. And as this is all going on, well, Midna has a realization. that Link is in danger, she's not there to help, and that Link is planning to die. He does not plan on coming back from this fight. He is willing to give it all to stop Ganondorf. In the chaos in the battle, Midna gets dropped in the line of sight of Aru, and he witnesses her declaring that she has to help Link, as she's just clawing her way to get to him. And he hears the words in his head still. To hide your own weakness and shame. You're just looking for an evil you could safely oppose. And he realizes that he turned himself into a demon just to keep away. He has this whole internal crisis going on, that he turned himself into a demon, that he was this horrible person, but it was to protect the royal family, to keep the shadow away and protect Hyrule. And he's just like, was I wrong? And as he sees a enemy about to kill Midna, he pulls out the cannon and shoots it. Point blank. Deciding he was wrong. We don't really get to see a reaction though from Midna, as the 3 shadow beasts she summoned gives their life force to her, allowing her to fly to help Link. Meanwhile, Link is still getting tased. Puppet Zelda is slashing at Link, electrocuting him with each slice. And Ganondorf the entire time is taunting Link that is not enough. Whatever he's enduring is not enough for his hatred he has towards Link. And he points out that if it weren't for Link, he'd have the kingdom he desired. He would have already established his reign. They would not be dealing with all of this bullshit. Everything here is because of the hero. Well, he's blaming Hero of Twilight for the events of Hero of Time. But he's also blaming him for everything with Xant. So, the Hero of Twilight is not in his good books either. Though a lot of it, I think, is more towards time. But Zelda regains a moment of control and is actually aiming to take her own life to stop Ganondorf. Link is even unable to stop her, as he's severely injured from being tased multiple times. But that's why we have Midna. She equips the fused shadows again, and she does the same trick she does in the game, where she grabs Zelda and reverts her back to normal. But we also get to see a little bit of Midna's reaction to this, which is her saying, "You must no longer have such sad eyes." And we have the duo reunited. And Midna also points out that Link's hair is a little burnt, that he's been through a lot. Which, yeah, I mean, his hair being burnt makes sense, as, like I said, he has been tased multiple times. But we're not done yet. As the shards of darkness gather, revealing the Dark Beast Ganon. And I will be honest, the artwork for Dark Beast Ganon is really good. I've said that a lot during this entire coverage. There's a lot of art I just can't show. Again, I do encourage reading this, if anything, just for the art. Link turns back into his wolf form, because he's realized that if Ganondorf has turned into a dark beast, the very incarnation of his greed, then Link must challenge him as a beast. That he must fight with fangs of anger. Midna gets on his back and does the same trick she does in the game, where they tackle Dark Beast Ganon and wrestle him to the ground and Link goes and jumps to bite at the scar, just like in the game. The difference is it's only one phase, and Link rips out his fucking heart. Link just goes straight for the kill in the manga. And that is actually the last panel of Volume 10. Is Link in his wolf form ripping out the heart of Dark Beast Ganon. Volume 11 starts with Link actually just crushing what I'm assuming is the heart of Ganondorf. Or at least the Dark Beast Ganon. And he lands still in a frenzy. where Midna just calls out to him to calm him down, for turning him back to human. He is still covered in the blood of Ganon, though, which is not really much we get to see with like Link actually covered in grime, and even in the manga, outside of like I'd say the start of the story, where Link was covered in grime after he had his fucking arm cut off. And, well, here, he's just looking. He assumes Ganon is dead. That they did it. Midna starts to... There's some light that comes off of Midna that goes into Zelda, waking her up, finally causing that reunion to happen. And she just tells Midna that she doesn't need to say a word. And Link kneels like a knight. And she asks him to look at her. He says, "No, my face is filthy." And her only response is, "It befits the fierce yet noble beast that saved me." So she is thankful to see it. Which that leads him to look up at her before they see the darkness of Ganondorf gathering. Midna gives a quick look back as she knows what she must do. Teleporting Link and Zelda away. And taking her form with the fused shadows, declaring to Ganondorf that he will face his true opponent. We don't get to see that fight. We cut back to the city where Shad is screaming, where Telma's getting ready to evacuate the bar underground, but Shad points out that Ilya's gone. They don't know where she is. Ilya has gone to the stable to free Epona, saying that she thinks Link needs her, and sends her off. And the last thing we see of Ilya for a bit is a monster getting ready to attack her. Then we cut back to Link and Zelda in Hyrule Field. And Zelda is actually still pretty weak from everything that just happened, but we don't really get time to dwell on that. So we see on his horse, holding a familiar helmet, is Ganondorf. Much to Link's anger, seeing the helmet that Midna wore. Link immediately just charges right at Ganondorf upon seeing the helmet. No hesitation. Zelda does her whole bit about the chant she does to the spirits, summoning the light arrows, just like she does in the game. We get some great art of the spirits and all of them gathering to give her the light arrows. And then she has a moment of Link really quick. She just tells him he is the chosen hero, begging him to lend Hyrule the last of his strength. And we also get this really good artwork. Like the capture I have does not do it justice of Link and Zelda, pointing out the fact that through time, whenever Hyrule was beset by crisis, that there were always two individuals born, Zelda and Link, reborn in many forms, in many eras, and an unbreakable bond that binds them, which is the same bond we know that is tied between the hero Hylia, and Demise, which is the cycle that keeps repeating itself, which we saw the start of in Skyward Sword. But we don't get to dwell on that for too long, as Epona charges in and the fight is on. We get some great art of Ganondorf deflecting the arrow, declaring that his darkness will purge this feeble light. We get some, again, downright gorgeous bits of Link riding Epona, Zelda taking aim with the arrow, before also getting a really good bit from her, just telling him that she warned him not to take her lightly and that he will not escape, before nailing him right in the chest and Link going for the slice, knocking him off the horse. And Link goes to deliver the final blow, but Ganondorf declares that he's not dead. He stands back up little injured, but he laughs at Link, all saying that he's so angry, all because he killed that Twill. You're pathetic. And the battle is on. Link declaring that he does not exist to serve his own personal ambitions, that he cannot let Ganondorf live. And we have the parallel to Ganondorf declaring, that's the spirit, hate me more, only then will this fight be worthwhile. And they start swinging at each other. And we get some downright gorgeous art of the sword clash. This is just something I'm going to be saying a lot during this entire volume, and I'm sorry, I can't help it, but it's like, it's really good. We get some good parallels. We have Ganondorf trying to look like this noble leader, and Link missing his hat. This fierce warrior who's just in his way. And as they're clashing, Ganondorf points out that it does not matter how many times that they kill him. The Demon King always returns, so the hero never wins, because the sword cannot destroy evil itself. And he goes to take a slash at Link, who is caught off guard and cannot block. But the sword is blocked by the hero's shade. So this fight is not just a fight between the hero of Twilight and the Demon King. It is the hero of Time steps in the ring because of the fact, well, it's not his place to just let this all end. And he tells, as the hero's shade appears, he says, the Demon King may be immortal as you say, but the hero is eternal. Since the hero of Time has now officially entered the ring to challenge his old foe, we get some beautiful art with them, and the hero shade points out the hours of light have severed the source of your magic, that his threats are merely bluffs. And we get some amazing fight choreography between the two heroes and the Demon King. Unable to block both of them. And as they go for this one slice, the hero shade points out the fact that he now has the soul of a true hero, that there's no more he can teach. That he could not dispel his regret, but now he is at peace. And he tells Link that we may not be bloodkin, but you are like a son to me. And he goes, telling him that after countless battles, he can now see the future with unclouded eyes, and that Link will restore Hyrule to its former glory. Telling him to go forth boldly, my dear son. And Link, the hero of Twilight, stands up again, glaring down the Demon King Ganondorf, who declares that the power of the Triforce gives him everlasting life. And as the hero shade walks past Zelda as if saying goodbye. As this is the hero of Time's only opportunity to ever say goodbye to Princess Zelda, the princess he gave it all for. With the hero of Time's departure, the fight's back on between the hero of Twilight and the Demon King. We have, and Link's just saying himself, the fact that he's always looked outward for inspiration, a destiny to guide me, a duty to strengthen me, and dignity in battle. He's realized he's offered his life to protect others, and that he no longer needs that, for he is not alone. The soul of the hero is inside of him. That he's no longer that boy we saw back in Ordon Village when this all started. He is the hero of Twilight who will defeat the Demon King Ganondorf. Get some more stunning art of Link dodging Ganondorf, going for some slices. There's some just amazing swordsmanship on display here between the two, as well as some great artwork of the final showdown. Ganondorf actually does a downward swing with such power that he just shatters the earth. So there's not really a lot for me to talk about here, as almost all of this content here is just combat panels. But he actually does, but destroying the Earth, he actually does knock Link on his ass for a little bit, and he declares a mere human can't defy the powers of darkness. Screaming to the heavens that today this dread sword shall extinguish all light, for I am the demon king of darkness, and no one can defeat me. Which leads Link to get back up and just declare, I am the hero Link. You see him battered and beaten, and battered, bloodied, and fucking exhausted. He goes in for the final swings. They have a couple more clashes. Link gets the one up with one of them. He, for a brief moment, sees all of his friends, everyone who he's fighting for. And he just has that moment. Everything comes to a freeze, and he goes for it. Ganondorf falls down. He plunges the sword, declaring, "O sword that dispels evil, hear me. Seal this demon away forever." Ganondorf stands up, declaring, Cretan, this is not the end. He gives a speech about how this song and dance is played out multiple times. And Link has a realization, maybe this never ends. Precisely because I defeat him. Do I even have the right to kill him? Demand the destruction of evil. Ganondorf takes matters in his own hands, though, and extinguishes his own life. We don't get the whole thing of like Xanth looking at him and then the neck crack. Ganondorf just straight up lets go, declaring that they will meet again. And he looks forward to the day that they meet. Checking the game, we don't really have much to dwell on with the defeat of Ganondorf, as the spirits' lights gather to reveal the familiar shape that Link comes running over to, this time without the sound of clinking boots. And there he sees the true form of Midna, and she says the same exact thing to him that she said before. Which is just that her beauty has left him speechless. He just pulls her into a hug. Because, again, he thought she was dead. And Link realizes that he already knew. At first it was like a dream, but then he saw that vision. He saw the vision twice. And it never faded from his heart. That Midna is the Twilight Princess. We cut away to see Ilia was saved by King Bublin, and the rest of the monsters have actually started to disappear. King Bublin died with a smile on his face. And everything is peaceful. But we have one more tale to tell before the story ends. And that is at the Mirror of Twilight. Zelda wishing Midna the best as she goes off to rule the realm of Twilight. And she tells them she'll never forget them. To always remember that there are two worlds. And Zelda actually hopes to bring their two worlds together, using the Mirror of Twilight as a gateway between the two. And as she's getting to leave, Link has a thought though. This is goodbye, but must it be the end? And he runs up to her, declaring that he'll come with her. She just looks at Link and tells him he is the hero of the Realm of Light. He must stay here. Telling him, go back. His only response is, I don't want to. She gives him a smack across the face for being disobedient and rude. And as he's falling over, she does one more thing. And that is give him a kiss right on the lips. Telling him that she's not trying to silence him. That was a gift from the real Midna. before disappearing into the realm of Twilight, the mirror shattering behind her. Just like in the game, letting him know that she was glad to have met him. Leaving Link looking at the remains of the cold black stone, declaring, "May you live forever, my beautiful Twilight Princess." Fuck, that it actually hurts more in this, I'd say, than the manga. I mean, than the game. We're not done yet, though. We have one more chapter, which is the epilogue. And oh god, I gotta say though, that ending with I will talk more in detail my thoughts on the difference of the ending between the two when we finish the epilogue. The epilogue actually starts at Telma's bar with Shad basically very upset the fact that Ilya has gone home. He's so bored that he has no reason to live. And Telma just says, if you miss her, just go to Ordon. And he says, she only has eyes for the hero of Hyrule. That he has some pride. And, you know, Telma kind of pushes him a little bit like, hey, why don't you bring her your popular book? As, well, he's doing pretty well now. And he never went there. He never did examine the owl statue in Farron Woods that Russell mentioned. Maybe he should go down there and do some research. So yeah, that's a kind of a great little setup for him. We actually just get like a brief couple panels, no words of Zelda back in the garden where she first met Midna through the water, like through the basin and in the back of the garden. Shut. Nice little set off there. Beautiful art, as always. We cut back to all of Link's friends who are still recovering, who cannot believe that they survived. And Ashi's saying that she brought them something, and that the knights are ready to welcome them when they are recovered. We're asking, where is Link? We cut back to Ordon, though, where even we see the kids running around. Russell's there with his wife, and she asks him, where has Link gone? And that is, he doesn't know. Ilya's just been waiting for him by the bridge, and Russell says he'll be back someday. This is his house, and when he returns, we'll give him a grand welcome. And we get a nice final shot of Link's house. And it cuts to Ilya waiting at the bridge, still holding the calling charm for Epona that she made. But someone else crosses the bridge to meet her, and that's Shad. So yeah, Shad kind of has a nice little ending here that I've talked about. I actually kind of like this for both of them a little bit more. That's also just because of the fact I really like Midna and she deserves the win. We get a couple more final panels. Link in Farron Woods, looking off into the distance, seeing the Golden Wolf one more time before riding off after him. Get a final shot. This whole story ends. Link setting off to do who knows what. I like to believe he's looking for a way back into the realm of Twilight. And the Master Sword slumbers, waiting for the next time it will have to be used. And that is the end of the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess manga. This went a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but God, it is a really good story. I didn't get to go over all the details and honestly some of the dialogue because of the fact I can't read all of it. I do highly recommend reading it yourself if you haven't already. It is a really good read. The Midna and Link relationship is fleshed out in a lot more detail here, and even going full-blown into the fact that Link has romantic feelings for Midna. This is a thing that they can explore more, the fact that Link speaks. Link doesn't talk in the games. So it's always kind of just been a little bit of a fan theories and jokes about Link with his relationship status. But here it is explicit. I mean, hell, there's that sweet scene before they go into Hyrule Castle. There's the whole bit of Midna telling him to step down, and his response is, "I don't want to," before she slaps him and just flat out kisses him. And oh god, it is so well done. And if there's any characters who benefited the most in the manga, because Link didn't have a character to begin with, so he benefited from having dialogue and character. That was always going to be a thing. But of characters who spoke, I would say Midna and Zelda benefited the most from the manga. Which is saying something, because I already said, Midna's story in the main game is amazing. I love her story in the main game because of the fact you see this creature, this imp, going from despising the realm of light, not caring what happens, as she just wants to defeat Zant. And the turning point is the moment Zelda saves her. And there's so many little details that go into Midna post Zelda saving her and Link getting the Master Sword. But then there's the manga, which not only still had that, there's a moment, I briefly touched on it in the Temple of Time, where Midna basically is just going to herself, I don't care about the realm of light, I don't care about the realm of light, I'm trying to stop Zant, and then I have nothing else to do. Fuck, as she's looking at Link. Ashi has some really good stuff because of the fact that she actually, and honestly, of all the members of the Resistance, her and Shad, I'd say, benefit the most. Ashi in particular because of the fact that she really doesn't do much in Twilight Princess. She hands you the picture of the reek fish and then fucks right off. She has no other presence at any point in Snow Peak Temple. Shad, at the very least, had the entire questline leading up to City in the Sky, and Russell is just a great character overall. Aru, I remember more just because of the events of Volume 10 and 11. A lot of the others, some of them kind of get toned down a little bit, like Ilya's whole story with, as I've mentioned, with the City in the Sky just doesn't exist here. Which also means Impa doesn't exist in the manga timeline, but you know what, it's fine. It is a wonderful story that they told here, and in honesty, they played with some darker elements than we typically see in The Legend of Zelda. Well, with Link's injury, as I mentioned in the very beginning, getting his arm cut off, the brutality of which they dispatch of the monsters, and it's a story I recommend any Zelda fan read. Granted, in general, I recommend Zelda Twilight Princess to anyone who is a Zelda fan, as to me, it is one of my favorite 3D Zelda games. And I would like to thank everyone who watched the streams of Zelda Twilight Princess, watched the VODs, and tuned in to watch this series. And I hope you all will tune in for the next time we visit the land of Hyrule.